Diamond Skin. There we go.
Well, let's have a quick look at the battleground, because these teams have exactly, like you said, had the chance to study who is playing what, and we see Braxis and Dragon being banned out here, and we are heading as the first map to Volskaya Foundry. Choice of Diamond Skin.
Yeah, it's interesting because both of the teams, or especially when we're looking at Diamond Skin, they banned out Dragonshire. It's a map that they already banned 6 times in HGC. They only played it 3 times and they lost every single game there. I could, on the other hand, have seen them also banning out Infernal instead. So they decided to go for a map where they are notoriously a bit weaker and that they don't like to play. But their track record on Infernal is also pretty mediocre. They currently have a 3-8 there. And it matters because we have 7 games played by worst positioning on Infernal Shrines and they are undefeated. So that could have been another approach where you just say, all right, let's risk that we have to play on Dragonshire, but get rid of the strongest map of our opponent and another map where we don't feel too confident.
But their choice, like we said, they did in the end ban out Dragonshire, decided not to go for Infernal, and Volskaya is an interesting map choice. We saw it very much backfire. I think Granite picked it yesterday and it did backfire a bit against them.
Yeah, but in this case for Diamond Skin, it's actually a decent map. They have a 3-2 track record here, so a 60% win ratio for Volskaya. It's one of the maps that they feel more confident on, and that's something that they have to showcase right now. First game is super important in a best-of-7 series. Of course, it can always come back and you can show with a bit of flexibility in the draft that you can adapt to your opponent, but early match momentum can be absolutely crucial, especially when you go up against an opponent that is not as experienced as you. That might create some extra pressure that they were going to crack under.
And we are heading into the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Volskaya Foundry is the map. So, there is one thing that we need to remember quickly about worst positioning, and that is they have a lot of these insta-ban heroes and insta-ban players. A lot of Medivh has been included in a lot of the worst positioning victories. Sonic the Beast, he has a couple favorites. His Hanzo, maybe even the Jaina every now and again. A little bit of Greymane can be ban choices for teams.
Yeah, I would definitely expect different drafting from the series that we saw yesterday, in particular because of what you pointed out around Medivh. It's really one of the staples for worst positioning, and they played a lot together with Jaina as well. We've seen that a lot on Towers of Doom, even in the series, in the playoffs here. So I'm really eager to see what exactly is going to happen here today, since I feel both teams are coming in with very different strategies from what we observed with Leftovers and Granite Gaming.
So we're seeing Tracer as the first pick here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Diamond Skin take away the Malfurion now, due to the fact that they, of course, are going to want to prevent the go-to Tracer combination and try and force them on something like Stukov that's still good but isn't preferred.
Yeah, on the other hand, worst positioning so far didn't really have a lot of chances playing that Malfurion, at least in the time that they've been together. For them, it's really an interesting situation now, especially with someone like Sonic who has already some comparative experience through him subbing in for Fnatic. But at the same time, there's a lot of hype around Sonic that he tries to justify by really grinding it out in Hero League, enlarging his hero pool, because that was a weakness that he personally also perceived at the Western Clash. Fnatic had to draft heavily around his small hero pool, so he's trying to enlarge in that. But at the same time, a lot of this hype could also putting too much pressure on him, since a lot of people also say that they feel the hype is just going a bit too far. He is a great player with a lot of potential, but he still has a long way to go to make it, let's say, into a top team, for example.
And of course, we immediately see Sonic almost being targeted here, with Hanzo being taken away, one of his top heroes in general, and the Malfurion to combo with the Tracer. Right now, Diamond Skin, they've definitely done their homework, and they are opening up with a pretty solid start to the draft.
Yeah, for Diamond Skin, this is definitely going to be super important to just come out swinging here. I would expect them also to maybe look again towards Garrosh, that we've seen played a lot by Robadoba, and that worked really well for them. But what we already have is now Tassa, for example, taken to combo off with Tracer and making sure that they have a double support setup. And once that you're seeing Diablo, you of course have always to consider, okay, what is my opponent going to do here? Can they really, with a double support setup around Tassadar, also draft the Medivh? Do we have to worry about that combo? Or is it most likely going to be that solo laner that you would expect?
Yeah, it would be very strange to see Tassadar and Medivh together, so unless this is the crazy bait, I would be very impressed if that was the case and they were able to win with it. But at the moment, like you said, you probably don't have to worry about it that much. You can probably focus on maybe a Stukov ban or a Rhaegar ban.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to assume that in this case you are going to see a dedicated solo laner still. I mean, we have seen some crazy drafts where teams were trying to get an upper hand by just surprising an opponent, but I would still say that is a little bit too much and putting way too much of your hopes into the Tracer performance here, whereas on the solo lane you would all of a sudden have to split Tassadar off, so it would be a weird setup for them here. But already having a double support Tracer identified is one of the things where Diamond Skin can try and play around that. They have to keep Hanzo safe somehow, and that's going to be super important for them here, since Tracer is going to try and jump on him any chance.
76% of the audience believing in the Open Division team, believing in worst positioning. Let's see if their faith is justified. 77% now. But with Tychus banned out, this is going to give Diablo a little bit more freedom. But you already mentioned the Garrosh. Very solid pick here coming in. And the Genji wants to try and punish that Tracer, punish that Tassadar especially. Because if you can remove him, you remove a lot of Tracer's effectiveness.
I have to admit that I expected Garrosh to be banned out over Tychus. If you ban Tychus out, you keep Diablo a bit safer, but at the same time, we haven't really seen that much of a Tychus priority against Diablo within the league. So you could have probably played around that to an extent. The good thing for worst positioning is that if Garrosh flips a target, Tassadar should be within reach, especially after his level 7 talent, Psionic Reach. He should be able to just provide the additional shield. So there are definitely arguments to be made for getting the extra armor on level 4 over the life leech. Of course, with Tracer, you always want to put her in a spot where she has as much sustainability on her own as possible. But if you're worried about the Garrosh combinations, then getting the extra armor for Tassadar would be a really good approach here as well.
It would certainly, of course, empower the role a little bit. If he's not going in full Wind Fury, keep that lightning going. You can sustain him from further away against the harassment that Hanzo can offer. So final pick for Diamond Skin here. They already have pretty much everything except a solo laner, so we could, if they did want percentage damage still, Malthael is open. Sonya, of course, hasn't been picked up yet in any of the games we've cast this weekend.
Yeah, Malthael isn't really, hasn't been a big deal in Europe for a long time. It's more so a pick that we see on the North American side, but they could go into that. But they go into Sonya, which is much more down the European playstyle. The interesting thing about Thrall here that I want to mention is also that if he goes for Echo of Elements, which we still can assume here, then he has great targets with Hanzo and also with Genji. If you just keep poking away at them in team fights and you can prolong or like just draw out the actual engagement itself, you can really get those heroes rather low. So that's something where long sustained fights around an altar, for example, could end up in favor of worse positioning through that.
Yeah, I agree. The double Shimada can be a little scary, but if you have consistent poke, you really can punish them and put a lot of pressure onto those heroes, making it much more risky for someone like Genji to engage, for example, if he gets locked down and blown up.
Yeah, one of the things to really consider here is also that the amount of CC that we are seeing on the side of Diamond Skin is not really too crazy. Or, well, let's put it a little bit differently. The amount of reliable CC. You have, of course, Hanzo's arrow, but how likely is it that you can actually hit Tracer without a pre-stun with that arrow? That would definitely, I mean, that would really mean that the Tracer player already made a few mistakes. So the biggest tool that they have right now is the taunt on the side of Garrosh to lock Tracer down, and also Malfurion with the Twilight Dream. So those two tools are probably the best way for them to try and take her on if they want to focus on Tracer in the team fights. But of course, especially with someone like Garrosh there, you can always try to aim for him first, burst him down. It's all coming down to positioning in the end.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are heading into game number 1 of day number 2. It is Diamond Skin versus worst positioning. And, ladies and gentlemen, sporting on the left-hand side, it is Diamond Skin, with Genji being played by Nanda, Sonya being played by Darkbok, Malfurion played by Wolfjo, Garrosh played by Robodoba, and Hanzo played by Roskmeg.
And over to the right side of the map, we have the Open Division team trying to claim the HGC spot with Dreamy on Tassadar, Earth on Diablo, Sonic Le Beast on Tracer, Sinunia on the support playing Rhaegar, and Zico on Thrall.
As the gates open, both teams look like they are going for the 5-man move-in. This is a strange choice we see from teams sometimes, especially with Nanda going very far forward to start with, due to the fact that, in theory, one team should have the worst 5-man, meaning if you both 5-man into the middle, someone's made a mistake. But in this case, we do actually see worst positioning playing it a little bit safer.
Yeah, they have to be careful of Garrosh and his swap, but again, Tassadar is going to be able to mitigate that pressure to some extent. On the other hand, with a chain CC that we can see through Diablo and Thrall, there's also danger to Diamond Skin's frontline if they don't pay attention here. But already a bit of a skirmish happening as we see the first few players going off to their lanes. And in this case, we have the solo lane established at the bottom. Zico and his Thrall going up against Darkmok with Sonya. And that battle is basically about Darkmok trying to keep Zico away from all the minions to slow down the Echo of Element stacking.
This is the plan. You're even seeing him not hit minions, try to freeze the lane as much as possible.
What we just saw here, for example, is Darkmok actually positioning himself on top of a low HP minion so that Thrall can't point and click the chain lightning and get those extra stack in. So really well played by Sonya here. Keeping him away by just having the extra sustain and then also shielding the low HP minions so that it's really difficult for Zico to get the stacking going.
Really gotta love little tiny moves like that that can make such a big difference. And also, we gotta love item control, especially on this map as we see turrets picked up by both teams. We actually saw Rhaegar pick it up, Nunia pick it up on the side of worst positioning. Sonya grabs it for Diamond Skin.
Yeah, and now that we have the item taken, it also meant that Sonya moved away for just a few seconds from the lane, and that allowed Thrall to just continue the stacking. Now, one of the reasons why that's important is because you won't be able to prevent Thrall from completing the talent. But the question is, when is that going to happen? If it happens around the first objective of the game, then Thrall is going to come in with so much more power and so much more poke potential. So in an ideal world for Diamond Skin, they would try to prevent the quest talent from being completed during that first objective, which would give them a bit of an easier time.
Yeah, and so far they're doing a pretty good job. In fact, they can even prevent him stacking via his death. Good gank and first blood picked up by Diamond Skin.
Yeah, really well done here. And that was a great kill for them on the solo lane too. So now Diablo is forced to move down to the bot lane and Thrall is out of commission for quite some time. So great job by them. I like the way that we have the camp control established though from worst positioning here, making sure that they are just capping it through Nunia on his Rhaegar just in time as the objective spawns. So he's currently forced to just guard it for some time, and Sonya is now taking over with a Battle Rage to top left to make sure that there's some balance on the top lane. But still a pretty good move by worst positioning to take it early and make sure that they can move back with the heroes onto the lane and establish their presence.
Nunia holding as long as he can, finally capping pretty simultaneously with his opponents actually, so they will meet in the top lane. As we do see everyone beginning to move to mid, preparing for the first objective. Thrall, he is not stacked, only up to 8. Great prevention there by Sonya.
He's not even close. He's currently, as he said, at 8 stacks, so he doesn't even have the mana reduction yet. We have Karla's Embrace also taken, so the extra life steal on Tassadar. We talked about him potentially going for armor if they feel that Garrosh is going to be a huge threat here. So far, they are more worried about the lane sustain or the fight sustain that Tracer has, so therefore the choice into the auto attacks. That's going to benefit Thrall later on, of course, as well. So definitely a couple of tools for them, but the position on the first objective has been established by Diamond Skin. Now usually you would start and challenge that around the 99% towards the end to make that an all-or-nothing fight, but right now both of the teams are also opting for level 7 talents. This is what they're trying to get before they go into the battle itself.
Which Diamond Skin have now picked up. They've also got a big chunk of percentage on the objective as worst positioning. Now also hit the level 7. Nice chunk of damage onto Zico there by Darkmok, even dodging any kind of counterattack.
Yeah, and we have Ancestral Wrath now for Zico, and that's a super important talent on level 7. Also Psionic Reach for Tassadar keeps him so much safer. Great power spikes here for worst positioning, especially against Garrosh, but they give up the first protector. So Diamond Skin, they have with this early game that they just established now a chance to start and run away with experience a bit.
Sonic goes pretty aggressive onto the protector, takes half its health worth of damage, but did use the pulse bomb on it. Diablo, by the way, going for that cooldown reduction here. Diabolical momentum, wants to keep the CC train going.
Yeah, outside of that, now the first tower is gone, and that's the experience lead that we've been talking about. Diamond Skin is trying to establish that early on. They still have heroes on all 3 lanes, so Darkmod's currently pressuring the bot lane here, and the Protector is making his way up to the top, trying to take all 4 towers down, having already killed the 2 in the middle. Getting burned down now by worst positioning, but so far Diamond Skin, this game is running exactly as they want.
They're looking pretty good. They're just grabbing tower after tower here, using this Protector. Double people in it, grabbing as much as they can. Dreamy taking a lot of damage. Genji, though, Nanda not willing to go in for the kill.
Yeah, Tassadar is going to be in an awkward spot throughout the game, since we are going to see the poke happening through Hanzo, and then you will see, especially Genji, trying to aim for Tassadar in that backline whenever he can. The small hit point pool can easily be exploited, especially when Tassadar has to focus, of course, his shields onto Tracer and Thrall, depending on the situation. So that's what Diamond Skin is going to look for. And currently what they want to do is just hit the early level 10 and then maybe get the healing pulse there or grab another kill as they're now trying against Ziku down here.
Ziku takes a huge amount of damage. He's sustaining through, but it's not enough. Nice spear by Darkmok, picks up the kill. Turret just grabbed on the way out by worse positioning.
I'm actually wondering if he would have been safe if he tried to go through the gate. The thought process was, of course, you could see there was a call when you're basically telling me, hey, dude, I'm above you, move up, and I can try and heal you. So that's what Rhaegar was attempting to do, but there was just a bit too much damage. Diablo also not willing to charge in and push one of the heroes away, and that was simply because Diamond Skin was already on their 10. So in that case, if he goes in, it might save Thrall, but in a worst case scenario, you lose 2-3 heroes in that fight and you fall farther and farther behind. So they used Thrall, so to say, as a sacrifice and just said, okay, we probably won't be able to save him. Let's just cut our losses here. It's not too impactful in this situation, and it could be worse.
Malfurion going with Tranquility here, not bringing out the Twilight Dream. You're against the Diablo, it is a little bit risky, but it also means if you have the healing online first, you can get something value, and there's not a huge amount of burst outside of Diablo.
You give up one of the tools against Tracer, though.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
There's one other thing that I find super interesting now, and that's that we have Force Wall on Tacita. Now,
Ooh, the combo.
It's really cool, exactly, for the combo. It's really cool when you have the Force Wall and then Diablo can just simply use it to slam a target into it and get the stun off. But it makes Tacita also a lot more vulnerable. He doesn't get the additional dimensional shift and he doesn't get that hit point pool. So right now there will be, in the later stages, a lot of pressure on Dreamy. If he can pull that off and get those Force Walls in to enable Diablo, maybe even after the Earthquake has been used already, they can pick up kills and maybe start to snowball these fights. But it also means that Dreamy has to be insanely careful and also uses his dimensional shift very rarely. If that cooldown is on, Diamond Skin is going to try and exploit it.
There is also the issue with the fact that two of the, obviously Malfurion is always going to be a good target for this, but two of the other best targets, the Shimada brothers, Hanzo and Genji, they both have an ability that lets them jump over walls.
Yeah.
Very convenient against someone who makes walls.
Yeah, it kind of helps. That's definitely sure. The 13 also now coming in pretty soon. So far, Diamond Skin is just running this in a very experienced fashion. Now, as I said before, this is one of the battlegrounds where Diamond Skin is actually pretty decent. 3 wins, 2 losses, leaves them at a 60% win ratio, which is actually fantastic if you look at their average win ratio in HGC Europe, which is at 29%. So this is one of the best maps that they have. They banned it in the first phase quite a lot, but especially in part 2 of phase 1, they went in and picked the map over and over again. And now for them, it's all about item control, as you can see here. And they have the 13. Are they willing to take the fight?
Diablo is making it on the point, but he can't delay it. Dragon Arrow comes in. They're going for Darkmok. Get him with the A-Pong. Nicely done, but the turnaround from Robert over trying to lock him down. But with Tacita arriving, they're able to win the fight. The turrets were used on both sides, and all that really achieved was a kill, but it is getting worse positioning much closer to that level 13.
Exactly, because we had Genji all the way up at the top lane. So we have, well, first of all, the 13, you're absolutely right. Worst positioning is now closing in on it. But they sacrificed the progress on the capture point. So this is one of the trade-offs where I feel Diamond Skin is going to be absolutely happy with it. Both teams used a lot of their items here, basically all of them, even the healing pulse got dropped. And at the same time also we had most of the heroic abilities utilized in this fight as well. But now we have 87% on the progress bar for Diamond Skin, and they are back with 5 on the map to engage into that 13 versus 13 battle now.
Nunda comes in, drops some good harassment onto Earth. Earth pulling back though. Darkmok cleaning up the wave, giving Diamond Skin that positioning. 13 is now available for worse positioning, so they're going to feel much more comfortable moving on to this point. Force Wall lands, but Earth was stunned out, so wasn't able to get the charge. They're holding overtime. Good poke on Ziku. Earth just drops off the point. They're in full retreat. Ancestral doesn't even get close to landing here.
Double kill, and they're trying to make it a triple. Darkmok is thrown into the fray, but at the same time now we have the Protector coming in for Diamond Skin. They had the extra turret heading into the fight, and with this double kill now, making it 4 against 1 in total. They're in a great position here, already ahead by an entire level. Now netting those 2 kills, they can easily move through the lanes and try to get 2 forts out of this push. Fantastic position now for Diamond Skin.
Great burst damage from them there, just easily out-damaging the Ancestral before it even has a chance to land, as they now push in second fort of the game with top lane already taken out. And Diamond Skin, like you said, they're looking good. They're approaching their level 16 now with worse positioning, only just getting up to their level 40.
The problem is that worse positioning is really starting to lose control of the game. 2 of the forts are already taken down, and Diamond Skin is now eager to make that a third. And if they can take the additional structures here, it also will net them level 16. That's nearly a 3-level lead then at that point in time. They're trying to go in now. Earth with a defense attempt, but he might fall here. The Ancestral comes out as Nunya is going for the panic button, but Earth is still being followed, and Sonya confirms the kill.
Removes all the souls, but Diablo will be back. Darkbot getting a lot of damage from Tracer. Psystorm picks up the counter kill, biting off a bit more than you can chew, but removing Diablo's souls, that is a huge deal.
Yeah, good job by Dreamy making sure that the storm lands here. Sonic was trying to go in and confirm the kill, but he couldn't get deep enough. And now the attempt by Zikudo to lock someone down. Not quite successful. Diamond Skin is willing to even look for a potential turn. They have the level 16 talents now, and that's of course a huge deal here. But without Sonya, they're not willing to fully commit to those fights yet.
I'm really enjoying Nanda's play on this Genji, by the way, going with the Shuriken build as opposed to a Swift Strike, which makes so much more sense against the Diablo. Stay further back, stay safe, get your harassment in, only go in to finish the job.
Yeah, now again, we have that situation on the map where worse positioning has lost a lot of their potential advantages during fights, because they have not lost the bottom fort, but they lost all the fountains, which means that for any objective that we are now having spawning in the near future, the next one is going to be at the bottom of the map, they are the team that doesn't have a retreat point anymore. There's even a chance that Diamond Skin is going to commit to the fort at the bot lane before the objective even spawns, trying to eliminate the fort as well. But no matter what happens here, Diamond Skin is going to be the team that can easily move back, tap at the fountain, and then re-engage into the objective fight.
Exactly, and with turrets being picked up, Diamond Skin are about to get 2 turrets, 1 healing pulse. They are in full control of this next objective with so many items in their possession. If they wanted to, they could even spend some time cleaning up that mercenary camp in the top lane to stop that doing any counter damage. They have control.
It's not only that, the mercenary camp timing is also not really great. I feel worse positioning took it because they were afraid that Diamond Skin would aggressively attempt to invade it and take it away from them. But this is not really getting a lot of value for the red team. So now we're having Genji already defending it. Sonya went to the top left side and took their own. So eventually worse positioning is going to be forced to the top lane to deal with that. And in the meantime, we are having Diamond Skin establish a much stronger position at the bottom of the map where we will see the next objective spawn. So this is a really uncomfortable spot for worse positioning to be in. But it's also now with level 16 talents that they just got their best chance to maybe come back into the game if they can win a fight. Problem is, if they lose that fight, they are nearly... I mean, they should be done, to be honest.
Luckily, the objective hasn't started spawning yet, so then you see them all rotating up to the top to try and clean out the mercenary wave after taking a tower in the bot lane, which is what gave them that level 16 in the first place.
I would have really liked for Diamond Skin to delay their own camp. I really think they could have delayed the camp a little bit and get it together with the objective just to force top lane pressure. Now that's not going to be the case, but I think in an ideal world they would want to just cap their camp late, maybe take it early with Sonya, then have Genji rotate in, take it on the way back down. The chances of worse positioning invading it were pretty slim, especially since they showed at the bot lane, so Diamond Skin had vision.
I can see that. I completely agree with you here, as we do see worse positioning. They've been showing on the map because of the amount of wave clear they've had to do, but the safety that Diamond Skin are playing with, because they have no reason to play over-aggressive yet.
Yeah, and here, of course, now it's the item game that's really giving the big advantage to Diamond Skin. The items, first of all, and then the fountain, as we spoke about earlier. Those are 2 massive advantages. So for our worst positioning, this is going to be a horrible fight. The only real incentive to take the fight in the first place is that they know that they're losing ground, is that they want to avoid that Diamond Skin reaches 21st, and that they are at least for now on even talents.
Zico tanks a couple hits, a little bit of percentage being gained here by Nunya hiding in the corner, but Darkbot back on the point, going to at least contest, but he really wants to just try and get these blow-ups here. This is what he's looking for, someone who is out of position to land a good spear on.
Yeah, and of course, one of the things that they're afraid of is Thrall and Diablo just stacking their ults going in and getting a great wombo off that nets a kill. Thrall is by now stacked as well on his level 16 talent, but there's already the position about to be established. The first turret drop. They're not just spamming out the items, they still hold 1 on Wolf Joe, and they have the healing pulse too. And worst positioning is already slowly walking away, trying to get the camp and get themselves an additional turret. The problem is Diamond Skin is doing the exact same thing at the top left.
Yeah, so they're still going to be down a turret, potentially 2 in this entire scenario. It's going to be 1 versus 2 turrets if they want to raid the point. Looks like they still want to try. The Diamond Skin aren't 20 yet, so this is the best time for them to try and make a play like this. They just need to be careful that Dreamy doesn't get caught out here. Pulls back, not landing the Groundbreaker.
Yeah, once again, both of the teams just angling for position here. The point is now contested, and worst positioning is starting to take over. 72% on the progress bar against 30. For Diamond Skin, it's a bit of a weird situation because they would love to just delay this even further, since they are so close to level 20s that there is a chance they're going to get that eventually and then can take the fight here. But now they're going for it once again, and they have Diablo a bit in the pickle here. Earth is trying to look for a play, but he's now being zoned out by Sonya, so he can't flank into the rest of the team and, for example, go straight for Malfurion.
Here comes worst positioning back onto the point. They want to put the pressure on. Sonic's a little bit low. Dreamy is lower. Eats the damage from Dartmock there as they pull back.
Worst positioning is running out of time. It's not only the progress on the objective.
It's level 20.
Exactly, 19.5 for Diamond Skin. They really need to make a play, and there it is. Earth goes in and he gets the stuns off. Do they get the kill? Yes, they do. Hanzo is down, and here comes the Earthquake.
The X-Strike though on 4 members. Sonic still alive. Will be killed off by the Groundbreaker at the turret as they just wreck Ziku there on that Thrall. Full retreat by worst positioning. A great start, but the 3-man taunt coming in there from Robodoba just completely turned that on its head.
Extremely well done here by Diamond Skin. Worst positioning was forced into the fight. They needed to make a move because Diamond Skin was so close to 20. And Earth started off with a great combo here that netted them a kill against Hanzo, but then the double kill against Thrall and Tracer. Now, of course, the Protector already moving down to the bottom of the map. They have level 20 talents and they are going for a keep here. Question is, can they go for core? Protector is already losing a lot of hit points here. Earth is still trying to make a bit of a play against Nanda, but the keep is definitely gonna.
Earth is trying to frontline for his team, buying them some time so that there's no potential for the end game. But Diamond Skin, they still want to try it. Protector cares not for your silly force wall as they begin to move on to the core.
They got Sonya, but can they really make this happen? I'm actually not quite sure here. They don't have Hanzo with them, but he's coming now. He's going to go for play of the game. Here comes Hanzo. Arrow is in, and this is the situation that you wanted. 30% on the core. Down goes Rhaegar. They killed Sonya, but that's not going to be enough. Game number 1 in the hands of Diamond Skin as they take the lead in the best of 7.
And that was convincing.